This hunt is for a buck I call Mr. Casual, and call him that because I ended up picking his track up. I was on my way out from a spot that I couldn't cut a track up on a mountain. I was going to go to another mountain, and he had crossed the road between when I went in and came out. It was about 9 o'clock when I came back out, and he was just wandering looking for does, and that's why I called him Mr. Casual. He's right in the middle of the day just casually wandering around, and finally found some does, chased them around, and I ended up getting him a little bit later in the day. And so pay attention to what happens here. This really, what the key to this was the snow conditions changed during the day. It was powder in the morning, it started warming up, and you can really tell almost to the minute how far behind a buck you are in that type of snow conditions, because when the snow gets wet, it'll start pushing up little like streaks or snowballs in the front or something. And when I got to that point, I just picked my pace right up. There was a bunch of ridges, and I knew eventually if he stayed, on his feet enough of those ridges, I'd catch up to him. It's exactly what happened. Hope you enjoy it.
Well, kind of a crazy things happened this morning. That track I was on earlier, I determined it wasn't that big, so I left it, and I tried to cut another track up in that big bowl between the mountains. Never did. So I come back out. I get back out to the truck at 8:45. I had another spot I was going to go try. I'm driving out, and I saw a guy's boot track in the road, just walking up the road, and didn't think nothing of it. And I get up the road a ways, and I see a track crossing the road. I get out and look. It's a nice buck track heading up the hill. It looked like it was made right after I drove in this morning. It's just a dusting of snow in it. So I got on it and headed up. He headed up like he was going up in the mountains, and he turned, and he crossed the road, and then I got thinking it's probably the one. There's a guy ahead of me. Sure enough, I hit another little old side road, and a guy had get on it. And then I said, there was a fresh track out in the road. I said, I bet the guy left it. So I stayed on it, and when I hit that road where I saw the guy's boot track in the road, he left the track and walked up the road. So I said, okay. Kept going. That buck crossed another road, and nobody had got on it there. And I think it's because it was made, after daylight, and people had driven into where they were going. And he just crossed another little side road, and there was a guy's boot track in it. Never looked at the track, so this buck must have come after that guy. And now I'm down in a pretty good piece of woods where I don't think anybody can get in front of me. And the track's still starting to warm a little bit and melt. The track is melting a little bit, so. But I don't think he's going to go a long ways. I think he's been running all night. But he just stopped here and made a little scrape, pawing there under a limb, and he's going. So I'll be able to catch him all right today, and maybe I'll get a whack at him. The track's not quite as big as the ones the first of the week, but it's a nice track. So here we go. Well, gone another probably half a mile or so, and he's still in the back of these old choppings. Just moving along pretty straight line, but he stopped right here and rubbed his antlers on this willow. Gave it a good thrashing here. Stopped again here and rubbed on this tamarack tree here, right out in the cut. I think old boy's a little frisky. So, gotta keep going. Well, he's taking me, I don't know, another mile and a half or more. He's come way in the back side of this pretty good sized mountain. It's all older woods, no cuts. And he must have known there was a bunch of deer here, because I've been seeing quite a few deer tracks, a lot of doe tracks, and he just started following some, so hopefully he'll get hooked up with a doe here or something. Maybe I'll get a look at him, slow him down anyways. He's been right cross country up till this point. So I'll start tiptoeing a little bit and see what happens. Whew. I just shot this buck. I knew I was getting closer and closer. I didn't dare to get the camera out. The track was really freshening up. The snow's melting. It's kind of tacky snow, and he's got out in this, been wandering these hardwoods back and forth searching for does. And I come up over this ravine. I kept thinking every time I come over one of these little knobs and ravines, I kept thinking, good chance to catch him. Well, sure enough, I did. I come up over this little ravine knob here, ridge line. There was a ravine, and he was going up the ridge on the other side there, and it's pretty thick over in there. But I moved ahead. He didn't see me. He was kind of hurrying, but I gave him a little blat, and he stopped. Well, pretty much in an opening, but whippy, and I shot, and he took off running, and I jumped a few steps sideways, and I got one more whack at him up in the opening, and I see him hit that time for sure. I'm not sure about the first one, but I'm pretty sure I hit both times. And I see him go down up on the ridge there. I don't know if you can see him here, but he was probably pretty near 100 yards off where I was shooting at him. But anyways, he's a beautiful buck, I think. He's pretty good horns. It's a good track. He should be a 200-pound buck. He looked pretty big over there. But anyways, looked like the horns was pretty good. So that was my deciding factor. You don't get a lot of chance to look things over tracking. So he's been dragging his feet most of the day, and that's a sign of a mature buck anyways. They drag their feet, and just this couple inches of snow we got there. And I've laid my gun down in the track so you can get a comparison. It's 7600 carbine. It's a little over 3 feet long. And I always say a buck on a normal walk, if he's got a 2-foot stride between his tracks, he's pretty good. 3 feet's even better, but usually it's not 3 unless they're walking fast. And 6, he's got about 8 inches wide between the outside edges of his track, which is a good stance. And you can see where he's dragging his feet here. Just found something out. I was walking down this ridge line on his track, and I come to his bed. Evidently he was laying here. I don't know if he smelt me, the wind's been swirling or what, but he was just walking kind of quickly up the other ridge. I just thought, he wasn't running like like I jumped him and spooked him, and he was actually kind of coming back towards me instead of running away. So I don't know what reason was why he got up. I know he hadn't been laying there very long. That's a good reference there, if the bed's as long as a rifle there, usually a pretty decent buck. I guess I didn't hit him the first time. I come up to where he was standing, and I don't see any evidence of a hit on that shot, but the second shot, he stopped again up here. He run over there, and he stopped again right here, and from there over this good blood. Got him a good one on that shot. He didn't go far. Whew, that's a beautiful buck. Pretty good blood trail too. He only went about 40 yards, I guess. I call it the 40-yard dash. Poked him right. He was angling away there, and you can see it's poked right behind the shoulder there. Must have gone right up through because he had a tough time. But he looks like a good one. I'm going to get him straightened out here and get you a better look at him. Well, I'm going to recap the day kind of, because it's been a funny day. Sometimes you start out thinking nothing's going to happen. You could be discouraged, you know. Like this morning, I couldn't find a track. And I finally found this track here, and somebody was on it, and then they left it. And he's actually crossed 2 or 3 old logging roads, and a couple people had walked through. You know, I couldn't believe there was as many people had walked around here. Usually I never see a person's track in the woods. And matter of fact, just before I shot him, he had walked in a guy's boot track that was up on this ridge, and walked down his track a little bit. He didn't go 100 yards, and that's where he laid down. But I'm a long way from where I picked him up. I picked him up completely on the other side of a mountain, and he made a great big circle, like the opposite direction of the way he ended up coming. Circled around, crossed back across the main gravel road, and he's been working his way around a mountain here for a long time, and he's come straight line. I don't know how far I am. I didn't GPS the truck when I jumped out, but I'll look on the map when I get home. I gotta be, I know for sure I've gone 5-6 miles on him, and you know, in a circle, and I'm probably, as my walk back to the truck's at least 3 miles now. I gotta go kind of around the mountain and up over it. But there's another way out. I can drag him out a different way, and I'll have to come back in around in a different road system to get him out, but that's the way it is sometimes. But that's why I teach people. You got to keep after him. I went fast on him most of the way because, you know, the track was pretty old when I got on it. They say it was old. It was made at daylight, but it was probably, you know, 3 hours old when I got on it, and it had just started freshening up when he got down on this side of the mountain and started, you know, checking through a few does, and he put a couple out of their beds. And like I said, I wish I could have filmed more, but I just didn't dare to, you know, get the camera out and start talking in it, because I expected I could have seen him anywhere in here, and sure enough I did. So anyway, I got a downhill drag up on this mountain. I don't think it's a long ways, so I'm hoping I can get him out today. It was 12:30 when I shot him, and it'll probably be, it's 1 o'clock now. I'm hoping I can get back, get around, get him out tonight. If not, I'll have to come in the morning and get him. But he's a beautiful buck, real dark, them dark colored ones, and he's got the rub bark in his antlers from rubbing. He's a 9-pointer. Pretty, you know, for this area, it's a nice rack buck, and I'm gonna say he should be over 200. Like I said, I was guessing he'd be right around there, and but we'll find out when we get him on the scale downtown. So I got to get going, get gutting, and get out of here. Get a little lunch. I haven't even eaten my sandwich yet, but I'm going to do that pretty quick.